Whoa. Whoa. We're here, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. We made it to the big leagues. Full circle. If you were an OG listener to Work Hard, which you weren't because nobody was, you remember the days, the shed days, the hard days, the hot days, the days out in the woods. We're back, baby. We're back, but we got a new program, an entirely new environment. It is here. I have orchestrated it for you. Welcome to Maximum Alert, the greatest news podcast ever to be published by an English-speaking white man, which I would argue probably means it's the greatest news podcast ever created. Listen, I set this thing up because I think that there's a lot of noise, and I think that it's easy to get caught up on stuff that's not important. And so I want to talk about stuff that I think is actually important and stuff that I at least think is funny. A lot of people will bring up stuff that's scary to get you to pay attention to it. I'll bring up stuff here. I'll report news that is... it might be scary if I'm gonna really lean into not reporting things that are messed up, right? I don't want to cause undue stress in the mind of my listeners, and so I want you guys to be paying attention to things that matter. So yeah, that's it. Usually I'll have some sort of reason why I think this is directly applicable to your life and not just like, oh, look, it's the federal government removed completely from you. Does it matter who's in office? No. So yeah, I don't want to I don't want to beat that horse a little. 2 minutes of why I'm doing this is good enough. So we'll dive in. So the way this format is going to work is it's solo, dude. It's me, baby. I'm doing this partially because I think that there's a need, but I'm also doing this because I really want to practice the monologue. I'm not that good at speaking long form by myself. I want to practice getting really good at that. So you guys are the unfortunate captive audience that I now have to practice my craft with. So bear with me if this kind of sucks. It'll get better as the episodes go on. I promise I'll be focused and diligent in that way. So, yeah, lend me your ears and let's dive into this week's news. So we're going to post these up on Friday. They're going to be recorded on Friday. They're going to be like a weekend review type situation. I'll cover the things that I think are the most important from each week. This is a bit of a slow news week, I think, for important stuff. But we can cover a couple things that I think are really, really important. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to go topic by topic. I'm going to try to keep it to like 5 topics an episode, but they're going to start with the least important all the way down to the thing that the last one is usually the thing I think you should actually be like taking that information and going out and doing something with it. So keep that in mind. So boys and girls, topic number 1, we have immigration in the UK. Now, why does that matter? Okay. Before we dive into this, I think it's really important to remember, I think because Muslims have fallen out of the news cycle because just local Americans have been so bad, it's easy to forget how dangerous and retarded Muslims are. So I brought this clip up here. I'm going to play this clip. This is clip number 1. This is an interview between one of my heroes, Gavin McInnes, and Joe Rogan, that pretty succinctly explains why it's bad to have a bunch of Muslims in your neighborhood. So here we go.
A part of it was inbreeding.
This is your own theory.
No. Look at
Someone else
Muslims
has a theory?
and inbreeding, major problem.
I've never heard this before.
Especially with immigrants in Britain, like the Pakistanis in London. They'll have all kinds of serious inbreeding problems because that's an even smaller sample size you're dealing with.
Strap yourself in for this. 70% of all Pakistanis are inbred. And in Turkey, the amount is between 25 to 30%. More stillbirths among immigrants. A rough estimate reveals that close to half of everybody living in the Arab world is inbred. A large percentage of the parents said, this is blowing my mind. So listen to the BBC investigation in Britain several years ago revealed that at least 55% of the Pakistani community in Britain was married to a first cousin. Holy shit. BBC's research also discovered that while British Pakistanis account for just 3.4% of all births in Britain, they accounted for 30% of all British children with recessive disorders and a higher rate of infant mortality.
So, scary stuff, right? Muslims, all inbred. Half of them are inbred. That clip continues on. Gavin McInnes talks about how inbreeding leads to lower IQ. I think they even mentioned that it's mental and physical retardation increases by like an order of magnitude. Your chances of being having an IQ lower than 70% increases by 400. An IQ lower than 70 increases by 400%. Now, if you're lower than 70, you're medically retarded. Okay, so you hear me saying that Muslims are dangerous, violent retards. I'm not. That's the doctor saying that. Okay, that's not me. All right, I'm not racist. Take it up with these racist doctors at the UN or wherever. Okay, so Muslims are a problem, right? They're a scourge wherever they end up. They're very violent. They obviously have very little regard for the lives of women. In a real way, not in like I'm a feminist way, like bad, like it's this is actually too far. Oh, this is actually bad. I don't think it's cool to have girls wearing big burlap bags over their entire head when it's 112 degrees outside. It's probably not cool. So it's just a sadistic, really messed up religion, and you got to be careful around these people. And you can't. I think probably most Arabs, most Muslims are like, you see them one-on-one, they're probably chilling. You could see some pretty crazy stuff on Instagram, though, if you stick around there long enough, that could refute that. But I think it's really when these people get into groups that they seem to be the most dangerous. And so it's really quite important that we protect ourselves against that. And so this is clip number 2. This is a group of Muslim migrants in the UK screaming at white British people while the cops stand in the way. So the cops are protecting the foreigners, the Muslims, and they are screaming at these white British people in their face. And so here's what they say.
Brothers, I'm not like you lot. Anyone want to fuck with the boss? You want to fuck with boss? You're fucking with the boss. Yeah, he's ready to kill you all. Yeah.
So, I know it's a little intelligible, so I'll tell you what he said. He said, if you're fucking with us, you're fucking with Allah. And then said something. We're ready to kill you all. We are ready to kill you all. And then all of the brown people around him, and these guys they're all Arabs, okay? And that's not, listen, this is a factual observation, okay? I'm looking at this video. There's hundreds of Arabs around this guy. When he says, we're ready to kill you all, they all start smiling, laughing. A couple of them dap him up. They all have it's very strange, these like westernized Arabs always become Drake. I don't know what's up with that. But if you've got an era, like the kids of first generation immigrant Arabs are all Drake. Take that up with them. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe we'll all do an investigative report, try to get a understanding of why all Arabs turn into Drake when they come to the West. But listen, these people are violent. They're very dangerous. When they get in groups, they believe that they believe they've been charged to take over the world one way or the other, violence or otherwise. And if you let them start to gather in packs in your area is going to become a third world country. It's going to become trash in the street. India, gup, gup, water, mud everywhere. It's not good. Okay, so you really need to. And I'm using the term Arab and Muslim interchangeably. I don't think that it's like a race thing. I don't think that it's Arabs that are this way. I think it's probably Muslims. I bet that any race subjugated to 300 years of just the most, I mean, it's low IQ, like caveman bonk you over the head religion. Like that's what the religion of Islam is. So, I think any race subject to centuries of this, I'm trying not to cuss, and that's really messing with my flow. I've been cussing a lot lately in my personal life. I got to turn that down. If you get a lot of Muslims in your area, it's not great, right? Any race, I think, subject to that religion for a long enough period of time would turn into this. So I don't think that it's a racial issue. I think it's a religious issue. And I don't think that that's up for debate. I think that that's probably irrefutable. There are obviously intelligent people that come out of the Muslim world, but they are an exception to the rule, right? The general consensus, the general reality is that Muslims are violent and stupid. And so you really gotta mitigate that. Now, what does that mean for you personally? I mean, I think if you have in Minnesota, wherever the new Kamala's VP pick, whatever state he's in, they imported a bunch of refugees from like some North African country, and they're all Muslim, and so they destroy the area that they're in. They just cover it in trash and turn everything into favelas, and there's poop everywhere. It's just not good. When you see that start happening, when some NGO tries to like renovate a hotel, you need to make some very serious noise. I'm not advocating for violence, but you do need to get up in a politician's face. You need to go to your town hall every day. You need to be causing problems, waiting in the parking lot for these people and coming up to them with signs and putting cameras in their face and screaming at them. You need to make the people who have the ability to stop that from happening, you need to make them as uncomfortable as you need to make them in order to get them to stop it. And that's very serious. So you need to have that on guard. And we'll dive into this topic a little bit, the immigration in the UK, because you do need to understand what's coming. So the US is probably like 10 years behind the UK in everything. Like in total social collapse type stuff, fourth turning type stuff. They're like a decade behind. So anything you see them rolling out in the UK, the American politicians are drooling at the mouth, rubbing their hands together, trying to figure out how they can implement that here. Now it's a little bit different because we have guns, but it is still something you have to understand, that your elected representatives desperately wish that they could implement here. And so I've got clip number 3. This is so this kid posted on Facebook something about taxes or whatever. I'll play the clips, and he'll and this little mousy hatchet-faced judge with no teeth will tell you what his exact quote is. But this kid got 20 months in jail, 20 months in prison for a Facebook post that's negative about immigration. So here we are. We'll listen to this.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting, intending thereby to stir up racial hatred. The context of your offending is that it arises out of the civil unrest and disorder in many parts of the United Kingdom. On the night of the 2nd and 3rd of August, the Britannia Hotel in Leeds was attacked by people who threw missiles which damaged windows.
Missiles.
The police were called, and on the 3rd of August the hotel was locked down for the protection of those who were living there. At the time, there were 210 occupants, many of whom were foreign refugees and asylum seekers. Similar attacks to the hotel were launched on the 4th of August. The police attended on each occasion, and units were deployed to safeguard the hotel and to provide an increase in the police presence in the area. In between the two attacks, you took to social media in order to encourage others towards participation in the attacks upon the hotel. As is recognised on your behalf, this offence is so serious that an immediate custodial sentence is unavoidable.
So I don't know what the term custodial means in their gay British legalese, but it's very important that a sentence is unavoidable. A sentence is unavoidable. It's not that I'm compelled to do something here because it's so harsh. There's no responsibility taken here, right? It's out of his hands. Listen, this is out of my hands. Okay? This is out of my hands. Now, here's the thing. This kid, he issues a 20-month prison sentence. Okay? Almost 2 years in jail for saying on Facebook that he's disgruntled with the large amount of Muslim rape gangs going around raping little British girls. Okay? So he got 20 months in prison for that. The same judge sentenced 2 African immigrants who are not British citizens to 6 months in jail apiece for killing a white teenager with a machete, with 2 machetes. They got 6 months in jail. All right. Now I can go all day on these things. I went through Twitter and grabbed a couple of them. I got a video of a minister. I don't know what kind of pastor this guy is, but he's standing there preaching the gospel. Police show up. I'm not going to play the video because it's not, you need the video, but you need to actually see it for it to have an impact. But he's preaching the gospel, and these British police come up and take him down. And then, not moments later, in the same square, in the same area.
I'm just about the same, man. I just come out Bond Street, Oxford Circus, and hearing the azan.
Now, that guy's got a sign. They've got a little stand set up with multiple people sitting there. Sorry if that was a little loud. The levels are hard to match here because all these videos have different volumes. But in the same square, only a little while later, this guy starts doing the call to prayer and is uninterrupted by the police. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. What's this one? I should have reviewed these again. But you're going with the flow, right? We're all going with the flow. I'm learning what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done. Here's a video of... This is a wonderful video.
For means, you know,
just listen to this.
What I'm doing now, what I've been doing through the years, is promoting the Sharia through peaceful means, you know, through speaking about Islam, by speaking about the justice of Islam, and also putting down democracy as a hypocrisy.
If someone said, Abdul Hakim, I'm going to join ISIS or some other terrorist group, and I'm going to take a SUV and I'm going to run it down Westminster Bridge, would you report them to the police?
It's not allowed. It's not allowed for a Muslim to report on a Muslim brother.
So you wouldn't?
It's not allowed in Islam.
So that's a no.
It's not allowed in Islam. What I'm doing now.
It's not allowed in Islam. All right. Listen, he's talking about how democracy is hypocrisy. How if someone was going to take a SUV, drive it down some busy street in London and blow up a bunch of white people, he wouldn't report that because it's not allowed. Right. So these people are positioning themselves against their white benefactors in these countries. And if you don't think that this guy's not white, all right, this is a black guy. If you think that if you think they are not thinking about it in white versus non-white terms, in Muslim versus Christian terms, if you think that they're not thinking like that, dude, dip your head in some water, brother. You got to wake up. You got to wake up. You're not ready for what's coming. All right. Now, the point that I was trying to make here about this, these people would love to do this thing that they're doing here in England. The people in the U.S., the government in the U.S. would love to do this they'd love to bring Muslim immigrants over here, have them terrorize local populations, sow discord, and then get people riled up enough to start protesting like they have started in the UK. And when they start protesting, they'd arrest all the protesters. Now, there's a whole narrative here of the UK that's I don't necessarily think that's worth reporting right now, because there are plenty of people who break that story down way better than I do. You can look it up. But the thing that I see people miss is twofold. The thing I've been talking about, which is that Americans would love to bring that here, and Muslims used to be recognized as a pretty significant threat. I think they weren't as big of a threat pre 9/11, whatever. Like, that threat if Muslims become a threat, it will be because the governing elites are using them as a weapon against you. And so that's one thing that I think needs to be covered here, is that American governments, if you let them, will do it. They have already done it here in the States where their population has let them do it. So you need to be on guard when you start seeing this stuff in your local news or on Facebook or wherever it is you get updates about local issues. If you start hearing talk of a refugee camp, you need to get busy. All right. You got to get busy. Something's got to happen. Okay. You got to make something happen. Now, the second thing that I think that nobody talks about that I think is really, really important here, that's a broader issue that we already see in the U.S. rolling out a little bit, is that when authorities become inept, when they lose power, whether that's because there's some larger regulatory body that's clipping their nuts and keeping them from being able to effectively do their job, or they hire a bunch of incompetent people like most governments do, and police forces just become more and more incompetent, and they just become less and less capable of doing their job, less brave, less assertive, and criminals begin to run free. And the police, and for whatever reason, if the police lose the ability to stop the criminals from doing that, they will start, on an individual level, those cops will start to feel guilty. And they will start to feel guilty. That guilt will spread like a virus throughout the entire organization, because within any organization, the humans that make it up they're just little cells, right? And so your body is made up of a body is made up of the cells, and whatever the cells are made up of, or whatever the cells are experiencing, the body will experience that too. So if you have a bunch of cops who are watching a gang of ruffians do something bad and are either too scared or just made unable by policy to do anything about it, they will feel guilty. And the number one way that people in authority who cannot do their job effectively, the number one way that they negate that guilt is by over-policing populations that will let them over-police them, which means they're coming after law-abiding citizens. They are over-policing law-abiding citizens. They'll write more speeding tickets. They'll convict you of minor misdemeanors. They'll do all kinds of stuff. They'll begin to harass people who won't physically stand up for themselves, who won't start, hey, yo, I'm not about that. You can't come in here in the neighborhood, do that, man. I'm going to hit you over that. I'm going to break you, man. Like, if you won't, white people won't do that. And so you'll get these you'll get this dichotomy. That's a big part of why this thing in the UK has happened, because the cops in the UK are unable to via policy, and are unable to by their own willpower. The police there are unable to actually enforce the law against these foreigners, and they feel guilty because they know what they're doing is wrong, or their lack of action is wrong. And so to compensate for that, to make it feel like they're doing something, I'm serving and protecting. I'm serving these speeding tickets. Oh, hello. Knock, knock. I'm here with the police, isn't it? I'm here to take you from your children because you said something nasty on the Facebook. I'm here. I've got no teeth. I'm here. I'm British, isn't it? I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you, little white boy. Right? That's going to happen more and more as the police lose their ability to actually enforce real laws against actually violent criminals. And so it's really important also that you stay on top of that as well. When you get this like defund the police stuff, all that stuff, it's got to die immediately. You need to get up in people's face. Same thing. Get signs. Go to town halls. Create individual lawsuits if you have the money for that. Waste politicians' time. Just get in their face. Just do whatever you can to get in their face. and make it so uncomfortable that whatever agenda that they think they're going to achieve by doing this doesn't seem worth it anymore. So that's topic numero uno. We got to fly through these because that took me half my time. So the next one, topic number 2. No, topic number, well, yeah, it's topic number 2. This one's kind of interesting. So this is the Trump shooter. All right, it came out this week that the Trump shooter trained at a range, at the same range that the Department of Homeland Security trained at. That's weird. Isn't that weird? I don't know. I just think that that's weird. That's strange. Yeah, so the DHS retained this shooting range consistently. Like, it wasn't like, oh, we went there a couple times. Like, that's where DHS agents go to train to fire their guns. He also was visited multiple times so that somebody, let's look this up. Let me make sure I'm citing this person correctly. So the Oversight Project dug into geolocation public phone records and found out that the shooter, whatever his name is, Crooks was visited multiple times by someone who worked in a FBI field office. That's weird. I don't know. That's just weird. That seems weird to me. That just seems strange. There's not much more on that topic. I just thought that was a strange one. I just think it's weird. You know, the guy who tried to kill Trump is just surrounded by federales. That's just odd. I don't know. Seems like they probably would have caught him or something. I don't know. Seems weird. Anyways, topic number 4, and this one's a little bit more important. So, and this is important for a reason that you will not understand at first. So Kamala is now, according to Polymarket, which is the world's largest prediction market, which means people are taking bets for certain outcomes. So, that's effectively like the stock market, right? It reflects what people think. The stock market is a future indicating tool. It's not a present price thing. It's what people think are going to happen to the price of something in the future. I won't dig into that, but the markets can be used to tell what people think is going to happen to a company. Rational actors who have skin in the game think is going to happen to a company in the near or distant future. And so Polymarket, these betting markets are very similar to that. So it's almost like buying stock in Trump or buying stock in the Harris campaign or the Trump campaign. So if you think that Trump's going to win, you'd buy stock, and that'd be that you'd place a bet that Trump would win. So Polymarket right now has Kamala leading by 8 points. So that's 8 percentage points. 53 to 45. I don't know what the exact number is right now. I'd have to pull it up. Not going to do that because my keyboard is in an awkward position. Hey, we're learning. Now I know to put my keyboard in a better position. Anyways, the point is that Kamala has a significant lead over Trump in the prediction markets, which they were wrong last time. The prediction markets going in bet Trump, and then obviously, at 2 a.m. all the voting, when everybody went to sleep, all of a sudden the Democrats found a bunch of dead people. I have a stand-up joke that I tell when I do stand-up, which is rare, but the joke ends with, obviously, God wanted Joe Biden to be elected, considering all the dead people that voted for him. It's pretty funny if I do say so myself, whatever. This is not going well. We're hammering along. So the reason why this is important, because it's important for you to understand that you don't actually have to pay attention to this. Okay. It doesn't matter. Kamala Harris will probably be the president of the United States. And there's, and that isn't real, right? Kamala Harris isn't a real human being. Kamala Harris is a vacuole. She is an empty body. There's nothing organic or real. I don't even know. I would not be surprised if in order to be this much of a puppet, you have to actually sacrifice the thinking part of your mind that makes you human, like to Satan or something. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. There isn't a person that is Kamala Harris. What you are voting for when you're voting for Kamala Harris is the CIA and the Federal Reserve and Israel, and you're voting for the world order as it is today. You're voting for all the people that are currently in real power. You're voting to keep those people in power. and those people are, I think those people are blinded by their own arrogance and lack sort of removed total view of history. I think ultimately they will lose, but I don't think it's going to be on this election. I think they're going to go pretty hard and do the same thing they did last time. And with Joe, they didn't have a narrative. That all they need to do in order to steal an election again is to incite enough doubt into the people who would get upset about the stolen election that those people don't get upset. Like if there's just enough, a big enough shadow of a doubt in your mind that the election was stolen, then of course you're not going to riot. Of course you're not going to, try to take action, because what if you're wrong and the election was legitimate and you just don't actually understand people as well as you thought they were, and then you got riled up for nothing, and you're going to get in trouble and whatever. So they just need a narrative that is just reasonable enough that it makes it seem like when they steal the election, like it wasn't, like they can just go on the media everywhere and say that it wasn't stolen and you're a racist, conspiracy theorist, or whatever, say whatever they want to say, and that'll be enough to keep people's jets cooled. And so that's what's going to happen. Like that's how this is going to play out. So you can probably turn off. I would recommend voting for Trump. But you don't have to pay attention to this. It's not, this is not a real election. If Trump survives to November, they'll probably do something to subvert the people's decision. So it's, you can just check this off, you move on. You don't have to, I'm giving you permission. You don't have to worry about this anymore. Okay. So have fun with that. Take your mental energy, put it somewhere else. So on to the big one, housing. All right. So there's a couple important points I want to hit here. Let me pull these up. Okay, first one is that we are now about a month into lower mortgage rates as the market prepares for Fed rate cuts, and the house buying has not increased at all since mortgage rates have gone down. That is, to me, that is an indicator of something important. And that is that the fundamental issue with housing right now is not the price of houses, right? As the price of houses go down, it won't matter. Let me read this. So in the northern suburbs of Dallas, there are homes sitting unsold for 6+ months. There are, so this is a survey done of realtors in the area. Builders are slashing prices. It doesn't matter. Realtors are not getting showings. People are not buying the homes. Prices are coming down. They're more and more and more. And these homes are just being built. They're just sitting empty. There is, I believe, let me see this number. There are now 472,000 active listings in the southern part of the U.S. 472,000 houses are for sale. Does that sound like low inventory to you? Housing is, the inventory is 109% higher in the South than it is in the North. The purchasing is exactly the same. The movement of these houses is exactly the same as they are in the North. So inventory is increasing. Pricing is going down. Everybody realizes that. But there's a problem, which is that houses aren't getting purchased. Nobody's starting to buy these houses. So why is that? If everybody's concerned about housing being too expensive, I can't afford to buy a house. You hear that everywhere all the time, that young people can't afford to buy a house. And then housing prices start to go down, and that does not change. People don't start to think that housing is more affordable. The reason why they're saying they can't afford to buy a house is not because houses are too expensive. It's because they don't make enough money. They don't have any money. So the average American right now is $5,000 a year short of their of making ends meet. Okay, that means that they're incurring $5,000 a year in personal, probably credit card debt at a ridiculous APR, 20, to 35%. And it's crazy. It's crazy, right? And so they can't make ends meet, right? People cannot make ends meet as it stands right now with their current bills, which means that unless these houses become free, no one can afford to buy them. All right. So the issue here is not, and this is a very important thing to stress, and I've stressed this on Work Hard before with Jason a couple episodes ago, that this is a cash flow issue. This is not a housing price issue. This is a money debasement and cash flow issue. So in order to solve this, we are going to have Americans make more money. We're going to have wages actually adjust for inflation, which they won't. But this is a huge, huge problem as people start to get priced out of the market, right? Now, we will have a massive, massive correction in the real estate market. And I believe in concurrence with that, we'll also have a massive correction in the labor markets. But everything is artificially messed with right now. So the housing is artificially raised by currency debasement, and wages are artificially suppressed by mass immigration. And so it's very difficult for the average American to make enough money to buy a house because there's probably an immigrant, illegal or otherwise, that's going to come in and work for less. And that's not up for debate, okay? I think 100% there has not been new jobs. So you see all these job reports come out, they're great, and Joe Biden's like, oh, whatever, oh, that's awesome. And then, once the news cycle comes out that the economy's booming and jobs are up and all that stuff, and nobody's paying attention anymore, they revise those projections to much lower than they were originally. But also, all the new jobs are generally government jobs. I think like 120% of all of the new jobs that are being created by the government, which means that the private sector is losing jobs and the government is coming in, spending money to create fake work to fill that gap. So 100% of all the new jobs, plus the jobs that were lost, the 20% of jobs that were lost by the private sector are now being created by the federal government. And all of those jobs are being given to immigrants. They're not being given to native-born Americans. So Americans are not making any more money. And what do immigrants do with their money? They send it out of the U.S. They send it back home. So the money is flowing out of the U.S. It's flowing out of the American worker's pocket and into the pockets of pretty much everybody else. And this is creating this disparity in the housing market where it does not matter what the housing prices come to. As long as this underlying issue is not fixed, people will not be able to buy homes. People will not be able to buy homes. And so you are going to have to fix this problem first. I think there's going to be a correction that's going to cause, I think there's going to be some sort of very serious global economic meltdown. And when that occurs, America's going to turtle up. We're going to get real populist real fast. It's going to make Trump look like, I don't know, Hillary Clinton, some communist. I don't know. It's going to make Trump look very left-leaning. And when that occurs, there's going to be a big correction, hopefully. I mean, if America goes like full-on fascista and tries to do this like right-wing managerial state, then things will blow up just as badly as they would if there was a left-wing managerial state, because you just run into the knowledge problem. And the knowledge, you can read that, look that up, Friedrich Hayek, The Knowledge Issue, I think, or something like that. It's basically the idea that centralized planning cannot possibly accommodate the level of complexities that human beings are capable of in their interpersonal and economic relationships. Human beings are the most infinitely complex thing that has ever existed. And you have to have a system that can capture or make room for that complexity. If you have a centralized total state planning system in play, then it just won't. It's too simple. You will not be able to match the complexity that is required for a truly flourishing human economy. You have to have complexity, and that's that. Hayek expresses that by saying, you just can't know everything. Nobody can know everything. No group of people can have all of the information that prices can contain. Prices contain more information than any group of people, any one person could ever hope to grasp. So it's so any centralized planning, whether it's whatever MAGA or whatever it is, whatever this thing the Kamala's bosses are cooking up is, it doesn't matter what it is. If it's centralized planning, it will fail. So that's the housing issue. There was one thing. Oh yeah, the Kamala's homebuyer grants. So this is new. I think this came out today. Kamala announced in North Carolina that she is going to start a $25,000 new homebuyer grant. So if you're buying a house for first time, the government will assist you by helping you with a $25,000 down payment. The stupidity is, it's not stupidity. That's the thing, is that it isn't stupidity. That obviously is retarded on its face, unless what you want is to cause a problem. Then it's pretty smart, because we are in the bread and circus era of America, and so you can just buy votes now, because land owning people with children are no longer the only people who can vote. So people, and that was why the government, that's why that was the way it was in the early republic, is because you have to have the people who are allowed to vote have to have some, they have to have some skin in the game when it comes to the country. So they need to care about its future, and owning part of that country and having children who are going to live in it after you're dead is a pretty good way to care about the future of the country generally, or a pretty good way to make sure that that person would care about the future of the country generally. So that's why that was the way that it is. Now, when it's just open season and everybody can vote, why wouldn't you just vote for whoever is going to give you the most money? Why wouldn't you do that? It's ridiculous to do anything but that. It's absurd. It's foolish. So, the Kamala Harris, I guess I can dig into why this is stupid. So if you have this problem with housing prices where everybody's trying to get them corrected, everybody wants this market correction where housing prices come down and wages go up, like we just talked about. Subsidizing demand is the way to ensure that housing prices go higher, right? If you make it possible for people to buy into a system that's overinflated by subsidizing their ability to buy into that system, and then they do it, it's just going to inflate that even more. Now, the thing is that it's just kicking the can down the road, because how are they paying for the whatever? You guys get it. You know how debt works. You're smart people. You're kicking the can down the road, so you're just making the problem. There will be a market correction. It doesn't matter. It does not matter how much money you pump into the system. Eventually, somewhere, the dam breaks. The other shoe has to drop. It's just gravity. Things that are unsustainable will correct, because things that are unsustainable are unsustainable. They're unsustainable. And it's not really any more complex than that. The math just doesn't work out. There's this is my quant. Look at him. This is my quant. He's a math specialist. He won a math competition in China. He doesn't even speak English. All right. I'm your quant. I'm telling you, this is not going to go well. Okay. You're going to, at best, you will buy maybe a couple million people a home that they will ultimately not be able to afford. They're going to have to get into adjustable rate mortgages in order to finance the actual loan. The down payment's not really that big of a deal. The down payment's it's not the real problem when it comes to affording a home. What the problem is when it comes to affording the home is affording the amount of money is affording the cost it takes to borrow the money to buy the home. That's the problem. That's the issue with buying a home. That's where they get you. Okay. Because if you buy a home, you got the home, right? It's worth when you buy it, it's worth $200,000 and you have a home that's worth $200,000, right? So if something happens, you can sell the home, go back to renting an apartment, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But if you have to get a loan and all of a sudden you don't have equity in the home because you've got to pay off the interest on that loan before you can even attack the principal or whatever. I mean, however they organize these mortgages, I'm not even aware anymore. I haven't had a mortgage in a long time. Sorry, I'm spiraling. I'm sorry. I don't. This is why I got a partner for Work Hard, because I can digress. But the issue is the debt that you can incur on the home, right? So even if you give people $25,000 to go buy homes, you will get a couple million people into a home that they will not be able to afford in 5 years. It'll foreclose on them. That'll ruin their credit. It'll destroy their lives. And that's it. That's that. So you got nowhere, right? That's best case scenario. That's the best case scenario. Now, what also will happen is that you'll get a few million people into a home, and you will increase the price of homes to price out legitimate buyers, people that could legitimately afford to buy a home, who could afford to buy a home into the future. And these banks will know. The banks will know, oh, you're buying this, your down payment, the $25,000 you have for a down payment is a government assisted thing. Well, we're definitely not going to put you on a low interest fixed rate. No, you're going to get a teaser rate, and we're going to put you on an adjustable. It's going to shoot up, 7 times over the course of its lifetime. We're going to price you out. We're going to take your house. We're going to get all the interest payment we can out of you. And then we're going to take your house and we're going to sell it for a profit, or, for slightly less than it's worth, to sell it quick. And we make a bunch of money off you because we got to do whatever. We don't have to go into that. But, so you're going to increase the total price of homes as you increase the demand for these houses. And then there's going to still be a correction. There's still going to be a market collapse. It's going to make that market collapse worse. So it's going to be more painful for current home buyers who don't get liquidated, who don't get margin called on their loans, on their mortgages. It's going to make, if you bought a house in this time period where there's all these subsidized loans, and you can if you're like me and you can't afford to build a home, and that's part of your plan, if you build a home during the Kamala administration, then 6 years after you build that home, it's going to be worth half what it was when you built it. And so now you're stuck. Now you can't move. Now you can't grow your family because you can't sell the house and get a bigger house. And you can't refinance it to make an addition. So you have to either figure out yourself how to go buy lumber and build a new bedroom on your own, or you just can't have more kids because you can't afford it because your house costs half as much as it did when you bought it. So this is it doesn't make sense. It's just buying votes, and it doesn't. The thing I think that riles me up about this is that it should not make sense on its face. People should see it on its face and know I'm doing a deal with the devil. For $25,000 from the government, I'm doing a deal with the devil. So when Kamala Harris gets elected, and she's also not going to do this, by the way, this is not going to happen. But if she does get elected and she does do it, please do not take the $25,000. You will be put into a mortgage that you cannot afford, and that will blow up in your face. You'll also buy a house badly because it's $25,000 free dollars, and so you have no skin in the game. So you'll make a poor choice. You need it to be your money so that you really feel the sting of making a mistake. That way, you'll be as risk adverse as you need to be. If you're using someone else's money, you're going to be too flippant with it. You're going to buy a bad house, and then you're going to be extra bad because you're going to be in a bad house you can't afford and can't sell your way out of. You can't work your way out of that problem. You can't pray your way out of that. I mean, you can obviously pray your way out of that problem, but you're stuck. You're stuck. So please, if this happens, do not take one of these grants. What else? Oh, my voice is starting to go. I haven't had enough water today. That's it. That's what I had planned for us today. That was the news. Now, it wasn't a lot of news, a little bit more, editorial or whatever. But like I said, kind of a slow news week. There's not a lot that's really, that really needs to be covered right now. Not a lot of things that are really important. A lot of the stuff that I think is important is going to be financial, just because I want people to be equipped to manage their finances well, because that's really that's kind of where the rubber meets the road for most people in their personal lives. And it's where you really can really destroy your life if you don't manage your money well, and you can really make your life awesome if you do. And the whole world gets better if a bunch of people's lives are getting a little better in little ways all across the country, then that means the country is going to get a little better all the time, right? It goes back to this, every person is a cell in the body of the larger human organization. And that expands out onto the country at large, right? If everybody is trending up a little bit, everybody's managing their money where they're making a little bit better money, or they're at least getting to save a little bit. They're buying some Bitcoin. They're making the right decisions. They're feeling generally happier. They're feeling more optimistic because they've been equipped with the correct information to deal with the economic system as it is. They don't feel like left behind. They don't feel pushed down. then the country as a whole will start to feel that way if each individual person is that way. And then if each individual person gets the momentum from those positive feelings and starts making better and better decisions, having more kids, saving more money, spending that money, the money that they are spending it in the right places in a diligent way, then the country will in and of itself start to grow in a positive direction. And that's really what this personal responsibility thing is, that like voting correctly, talking shit to your politicians, this stuff is all secondary to you taking personal responsibility and building a morally correct biblical life. That is the best thing you can do for your country. That is the best thing you can do for your community members. It's the best thing you can do for your family. It's just the best thing all around that you can do. And the more people that are focused on doing that and less focused on the jibber jabber of the internet and all this blackness that goes on, the more people that are focused on their own lives, developing good, healthy lives full of love and relationship and community and wealth, the more people that are doing that, the better off the country as a whole will be. There are people that are out there that have, been assigned by God bigger tasks that are more impactful. But for the most part, your job is to be a good egg, right? When God comes to make an omelet, we don't want there to be a bunch of rotten eggs. This is a Doug Wilson thing. We don't want there to be a bunch of rotten eggs. We want God to have a bunch of good eggs to make this omelet with. And I think that there is an omelet coming. I think that there is going to be either a pretty large schism in the U.S., and it's going to separate off into two separate countries. One of them is going to push itself into the ocean. The other one is going to be the Byzantine Empire, continue on 1,000-year-long golden age. I think that's probably what's going to happen. In my optimistic dreams, that's what I hope is going to happen. And when that occurs, there's going to need to be a population of strong Christians to fill that new Byzantine Empire. So that's it, guys. That's the news. That's why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I want people to stop paying attention to things that don't matter and start paying attention to things that do matter. And so I'm going to, week after week, be looking out for information that is public, that you can get, that I can get, that I can, I'm just looking for information that I can consolidate for you guys and give you in a quick, poignant hour that you can listen to and from your way from work on Friday to know, all right, this is what I got to pay attention to this week. Everything else is noise, whatever. And I'm not saying that I'm not taking some like arrogant stance that's like, oh, I know I'm doing this prayerfully. I'm pretty good at this. I'm pretty good at figuring out what's going on. And so I'm just going to do that. I'm going to figure out what's going on for you. And I'm going to tell you in a poignant way. And then hopefully you can gain some peace from knowing you don't have to listen to anything else, or you don't have to pay attention to anything else. You can listen to whatever you want, but you don't have to give anything else too much weight. Everything else is noise designed to take your attention away from your life so that you won't do what we just said. You won't build a healthy, wealthy, big family that goes to church. Right? They don't want that. So they want you looking at the news. They want you getting concerned. Oh, Kamala said this, and we're going to do that. And they're shooting nukes in Iran, whatever. Like it doesn't matter, man. You got to focus on what you can control. Because I mean, if you focus on what you can't control, you're literally just putting time and energy into a void, into a deep black hole that doesn't matter. Right? So you focus your time and energy on things you can control. You can make them better. You can improve them. That will ultimately improve the world around you, the world at large, whatever. You get what I'm saying. So, guys, that's it. We're at our hour. I love you. Thank you for listening. This has been Maximum Alert, or this has been Ethan Bell for Maximum Alert. You can email questions you have right now. There's not a Maximum Alert email, but if you guys have any questions, you want to hear my thoughts on a certain topic, I'll dig. You can email me stuff. Email me questions about certain things. About whatever you want. I will do some research. I'll dig into them. I'll form an opinion. And I'll let you guys know what they are. If anybody cares about that, I don't know that they do. I'm not saying that that's for certain, but So email me at workhard@hyperpremium.co. That's workhard@hyperpremium.co. I will collect questions there. You can also email us there for work hard questions. But those are more personal life, self-help kind of shtick. So you can email Jason and I there. You can email me here, at that same email address. But feel free to reach out if you want to. Guys, I love you. I am praying for you. Everybody at Hyper Premium is pulling for you. Keep up the good work. Thank you for listening to episode 1. I know that this was a tough one to get through, but I promise these are going to get better. I tried to record one of these last week, and I recorded 2 mics that said that my headset mic and the studio mic, and it sounded awful, and so I had to delete it, and there was no way to fix it. But this that one was way worse than this one. I'll tell you that. That one was way worse than this one. So we're already improving. I promise that this is going to get better and better. It's part of the reason why I started this, is to get better at this. So if you just stick with me, I promise I will get more poignant, more direct, less rambly. I'm also doing this a little late, so I'm going to try to do this in the morning from now on. But yeah, guys, we love you. We'll see you around. Thank you guys for listening. Look out for Work Hard on Monday. I'm also in talks with a couple other people about hosting their own podcasts on the Hyper Premium Network. So I don't know what the timeline is on that. We're in very, very early stages of those discussions. So look out for those as well. I'm excited about them. You should be excited about them. They're with very talented, very intelligent people who will have many insightful, useful, entertaining things to say on their chosen topics. So be looking out for those. Hopefully those will come out in the next few months, or start coming out in the next few months. But yeah, Hyper Premiums, we're on the up and up. We're actually growing pretty fast. And I'm going to say goodbye to you now for the 3rd or 4th time, whatever it is. Love you guys. I'm out. We'll see you.